Hey guys, and welcome back to another What If video. As always, I am your host, Armolian. Today's What If is going to be What If Goku and Gohan went Super Saiyan on Namek, Part 3. Before I hit that intro, please like the video, and if you enjoy what you see, leave a comment, it really helps me out. And subscriptions go a long way. Before I start, I'm going to go over the results of the polls for the previous part of this What If. On the Yardratian side of things, we have Gohan learning a new ability. The Yardra ability is still kind of unknown right now, but the latest chapter of the Super Manga, I think I'm going to give Gohan instant transmission to a certain extent. At least for now anyways. Okay, is that a car? Oh yeah, okay, so while Goku's more versatile with its use in a fight for instant transmission, Gohan is only getting it to be used for just getting out of somewhere or escaping somewhere faster, if you get my drift. So this can be explained because he wants to focus more on the healing aspect of Yardra spirit control. I don't want this ability to be completely or broken or overly useless either, so it's going to be similar to Dende's in a way. If you're dead, that can't obviously be healed. Or if you're missing a limb, that's done for it too. But he can heal most injuries fairly quickly. He will be able to heal himself, but not particularly mid-fight, because you're going to need some time for that. And so we don't really know much about the healing side of things anyway for the Yardrat stuff, even with the new manga chapter. On to the Vampa side of things, let's talk about parascaling Broly. Oh man, Broly has been a weird one to think about, because it's pretty difficult trying to figure out where his power level could be at this point. Because I know there's a bunch of different versions of what you want to consider throughout the community, so for all you know, he could be at Silver right now, and just start slowing down over time. Or he could just be like Frieza Soldier or below. Like, it depends on where you think about it. But for me, I'm gonna put him just below Frieza at first form, so 500,000. If you think that's highballing or lowballing, that's fine with me. Honestly, please try to make the argument where you personally think his power level should be in the comment below, because I'm interested in knowing what everyone else thinks about it. But for the story, yeah, that's it. So for Paragus, I'm just gonna place him at 10,000-ish. Like I said before, it could be highballing or lowballing. So yeah, but in this case, Paragus is getting close. We're just starting the rapid aging of the Saiyans, so yeah. Just remember that I'm using power level just to give a general idea of where they could be in strength, because after Namek, power levels go wonky. Well, I think that's everything, so let's hit that intro. What if Goku and Gohan went Super Saiyan on Namek? The large main cold ship has finally landed on planet Vampa. Soldiers had already landed on the planet in two waves. The first, a small scouting regiment, and the second, a larger 10+ group of soldiers led by Captain Ginyu to see where the scouts were. The main ship's inhabitants had already started filing up in a line across the opening of the vessel as King Cold walked down the ramp. And I thought this planet looked ugly from orbit, the king thought to himself. On the horizon, as the dust started to settle, Ginyu and his men approached the ship. Your report, Captain. Ginyu would go on to describe the reports of the men's search. They had eventually found the scouting regiment, but they were defeated at the feet of two beings. The thing that had piqued the king's interest was hearing that one of them had armor similar to the older versions of the Frieza Force. Ginyu, at the orders of Cold, brought Broly and Paragus to him. King Cold received the typical groveling from Paragus. It is my honor this, I am humbled that, blah blah blah. Normally, this would never tire him, but something felt off to him. Eventually, he was told that he was a Saiyan sent away by King Vegeta. The Saiyan looked like he had a very personal grudge against the Saiyan who deserted him. I have a proposition for you. Paragus, was it? I can tell you have a distaste for that King Vegeta. There are Saiyans somewhere in the galaxy who may have worked with the Prince of Vegeta and killed my son. You would have a place in my empire as a high-ranking official, where we both can get our revenge on those who wronged you and I. Of course, without any hesitation, Paragus accepted. He and Broly have been on this desolate world for what felt like an eternity. No way he could get up the chance to leave, especially if it meant getting his revenge on that cursed family. Just one thing before we take our leave. I'm guessing your son was the one who took out my men. While they were weak, it is no small feat. I would like to test his power to get a general idea of how much an asset he will be. King Cold couldn't care less about testing the boy's power in reality. He was still enraged that he was in the presence of the same race that took away his own son. It'd be so much more poetic, however, if it was the Saiyans that destroyed themselves in the end. But for now, beating one and showing his dominance would have to be enough. With a slight moment of hesitance, Broly listened to his father and threw some light punches, which King Cold easily dodged, and counter-struck at every opportunity, either going for the face or knocking out the wind out of Broly by going for shots at the ribs. All these shots just made the Saiyan angrier. Over time, Broly started to take the hits, which still hurt him, but fired a fist of his own. As time went further, Broly started to tank the hits, and eventually landed his first punch. The first blow, he thought to himself. Cold was launched to the ground. How could a measly Saiyan land a blow on him? As he looked back, he saw the same Saiyan, but it looked like he kinda changed. His hair was raised. His eyes were gold. As Cold stood up, he faced away from Broly, who he heard a yell from, and spun around, smashing his tail against his head. Broly was down on the ground, apparently back to normal. King Cold had enough and called up the spar. He wouldn't dare let that happen again, and went back to his ship. As the soldiers walked back to their ship, Paragraph stopped gripping his remote. That yell earlier had been a shock sent through his son's collar. He couldn't risk losing their shot of being free of this world. Now, let's go back to Earth in the present day. Goku couldn't believe it. There was no way Frieza could still be alive. But he could see his ship, as plain as day. Luckily, it was far enough from his house, but it was still landing. Come on, Gohan. Let's go. As Goku started flying towards high power levels, Gohan looked back at his mother, who was screaming at them. Gohan whispered sorry under his breath, and the father-son duo got close to the ground. A soldier looked up at them and ran back into the ship. They're here, they're Cold. They're just outside the ship. King Cold smirked. It was finally time for his revenge, and to be done with these Saiyans once and for all. Very good, Captain. Go grab our new assets. I'll be outside momentarily. There was a total silence for what felt like minutes, while Cold finally made his way down the stairs of his ship. So would I be right to assume that you were the ones that killed Frieza? Yeah, he had it coming for destroying all those worlds. Who are you? King Cold didn't need any more than the sentence. He wasn't going to dignify that monkey with a response. He simply turned toward Barracus and said, "Do it." In a scene extremely similar to the events of the Broly movie, the brute of a Saiyan rushes straight towards Goku, going for a punch, which is then blocked by Goku. The force knocks him back several tens of feet. While Broly did indeed have his own brute strength, it was no equal to Goku's own combination of technique, strength, and fighting IQ. Eventually, there came a point in their brawl where Goku got behind Broly, giving him a powerful kick to the back of Broly's neck, seemingly putting him down for the count. Goku looked over towards his son, who had almost been done fighting off the remaining soldiers by himself. Then he glared towards King Cold with a smirk on his face, while the man next to him was in shock. He felt a spiking ki behind him, and turns to the previously thought fallen behemoth. He was in mid-air, ready to grab Goku in a bear hug. Goku noticed he looked larger. His hair was raised, and even his eyes had changed. Had there been a transformation, he thought to himself? Unluckily for Goku, now was not the time for reasoning, he thought, as the huge Saiyan was about to clench his arms around him. A piece of electricity went through the air around Goku, and with a scream, Broly was launched back into a crater from their initial fight. Goku slowly turns his head towards King Cold, staring right into his icy eyes with a murderous look of his own. Cold had taken a step back. Was this fear? No. No way that Super Saiyan legend had actually been this powerful. Broly had already lost his mind to his Akari form, once again charging right towards Goku as he started walking to Frieza's father, without even breaking a stare or his march towards King Cold. He raised his fist backwards, hitting Broly in the face, knocking him back. Goku shouted to Gohan, who acknowledged his father, and went to battle against the invading Saiyan with his own power of Super Saiyan. Paragus, why are you just standing there? Do something. Paragus had no idea what had changed with Goku. No way this Saiyan is the one of legend, but this power. This is troubling. He started firing a barrage of ki blasts at Goku, creating clouds and dust covering the Saiyan. He wondered if he actually damaged him. He couldn't see him, so what else? As the dust began to dissipate, a glow came from around the middle. Then a hand went towards Paragus' stomach, unleashing a small ki attack, launching him into the side of the ship. Goku continued his march towards King Cold. He started firing death beam after death beam, which Goku deflected without much effort. They were within a few feet of each other. Cold went for a hook. Goku easily caught it. He cocked back his fist and delivered a gut punch to the king, sending him back a few feet onto his hands and knees. Goku looked towards the lead ship, but Cold went for another death beam. He thought he would hit him for sure at this distance, but his opponent was way beyond the speed, shown by a kick right to the jaw. Once again, Goku raised his hand and unleashed a ki blast, blowing up the ship. There was no escape for the king. Goku was ready to end this, but why had King Cold started to laugh, he thought. Goku started to turn around, but then he was smacked by a flying Gohan right into his arms. As he glanced back up, all he could see was a giant arm coming right for him. Goku took the full force of Broly's lariat, sending him flying. Goku managed to separate and make space from Broly, but every time he landed an attack, it seemed like it barely did anything. Eventually, the beating left Goku and Gohan right next to each other, on their last legs. Broly had grown beyond both of them. His power was rising, even above Super Saiyan. On the other side of the battlefield, Cold looked on in pure enjoyment, while Paragus, with scorch marks all over his midsection of his armor, looked on in fear. His hand had been hovering over the shock device the entire time since he came to. Cold looked over towards the Saiyan and nodded in approval. I want to be the one to finish them off, if you would be so kind. Without hesitation, Paragus immediately went to his bag and grabbed the remote and pressed it, sending bolts of electricity throughout his son's body. Broly made a gut-wrenching scream as he tried to pull off the shock collar. One arm after the other fell to the ground, leading to his collapse from the shock and the exhaustion. King Cold made his way towards the Saiyans of Earth, visibly showing, charging up a death beam at his finger. Finally, I can be done with your filthy infestation to my empire, but before I deal with the main pest. King Cold looked over towards Broly, who started standing up, while Cold observed the new towering Saiyan. I must destroy some loose ends. In an instant, the entire battleground went silent, as all as anyone could hear was death beam pierced through Broly's back, sending him to his knees, then motionless on the ground. Cold had a big grin on his face, while Paragus shouted for his son. He couldn't understand what was happening, as this was all going on inside of his head. Cold called out for his soldiers. Gohan did defeat them, but of course he didn't go for the kill. The soldiers rose from the dirt, and started attacking Paragus. While their power was low after defeat, their sheer number was going to overwhelm him. Now for the father and son. Cold stretched out his arm as his hand started to glow. Behind him, all he could hear was a bunch of screams, then nothing. That was different, he thought to himself. No way he had been beaten, or they had already killed him. As he turned around, there were two figures. The first was Paragus, on his knees, already covered with bruises. The second was a man with light blue hair, wearing a jacket with a sword in his hand, surrounded by a pile of bodies of Cold's men. And that's where we're ending it off for today. So Trunks has arrived to the fight, but have we lost another Saiyan in the process? Well, someone in the previous part in the comments said the what if has been dark, and everyone has been dead, so how about this? You guys want to continue it being dark? Is there a chance for Broly surviving the death beam? Remember that him surviving the death beam is not him bleeding out or anything, and he didn't get shot in the head, so it's up to you guys. Did he die from the initial blast from King Cold? Poll, top right. Other thing. I know this video took a while to come out, so I want to know what you guys want for the next video. I have a couple in mind, I have a bunch of ideas still, so I have options of these four. First, a part 4 of this what if. Second, a My Hero what if, where the Million, aka Mirio Tagata, gets Trigger. Another Dragonball what if is what if Zamasu was the Supreme Kai of Universe 7. And finally, something different, and something completely different for me to do, where I pick a movie villain and pretty much write an arc, like one video of putting them in the show, whether it be DBZ or Dragon Ball Super. But last thing before the outro, I want to thank you guys for hitting 60 subs at the time I've just finished recording this. Y'all really went wild over 30 subs since my last video. Kind of weird to look at. Big jump, even though I'm small, but you know, can't thank you enough for this. That's crazy. But yeah, that's it for me. So thank you everybody, and have a wonderful day.